Okay. Good morning, my dear future chartered accountants. I hope everybody is doing great. Can you please confirm me first that my voice is audible and the PPT is visible? You can use the chat option to reply, and you can use even voice option. You can also try, and I can hear it. Okay, wonderful. Okay, nice. So myself, Chinmaya Hegde, I'm going to be your faculty for next 2 weeks on accounting and advanced accounting on accounting standards and other topics. To give a brief introduction about myself, I am a chartered accountant. I've cleared the exam in 2010. Uh, I'm a rank holder in all the three levels. In the foundation level, I got 13th rank. The intermediate, I got third rank, and in the final, I got 39th rank. The reason why I am sharing these things is usually I used to tell these things on my last day of the class, but students have told me that had you told these things at the beginning, we would have been more serious to you. We would have taken you more seriously. So from that day onwards, I'm telling this on my day one itself. This is to give you a confidence that the method what you're going to follow, the process what you're going to adopt is tried, tested, and verified. So you can also place your reasonable confidence. So I cleared the exam in 2010. After that, I worked for a equity research company which is into mutual funds, stock market, valuation modeling, and so on. Then parallelly, I started teaching, and from 2015, I am in full-time teaching. I'm also part of a company called as Pygmalion Wealth Management, which is a wealth management firm. So this is one common question I do get from so many people that after uh, having good academic qualification along with corporate experience, why teaching? Different people have different reasons. I will give my honest opinion. In general, or after becoming CA, you have two choices. Are you aware of it? After qualifying, you have two choices. One is you can be in practice or you can be in employment. I hope you're aware of it. Give me 1 second. Yeah, oh, good. Now, if I ask you what is the meaning of being in employment, it is the process of getting paid for scolding from your boss or manager. If the level of scolding is higher, you get paid more. And what is practice? It is the process of getting paid for scolding from two sides. One, from the clients who don't understand how the government department like GST, income tax people work, and from the government pressure who don't understand how the business works. In between, CA in practice is a sandwich. So, is there any profession where you can scold somebody else and get paid for it? The only one which I found honestly is the teaching course. You can also think on one more line. Uh, in general, you always see that when you pay something, you want more. You go to hotel, you pay some 30 rupees, you want idli, you want sambar, you want chutney, you want extra chutney, you want different variety of chutney because you paid for it, you want. Now, if I tell you, okay, today's session, let us finish only by afternoon. Don't worry, I'm not telling, only for example purpose. So if I tell you like that, I'm sure most of you would be already happy. I mean, in the sense, this is the only profession which I found. If you give less, the recipient, the consumer is more happy than getting more. Anyway, keeping the lighter note aside, I believe teaching and learning are two sides of the same coin. The more you teach, the more you learn. So I'm an eternal learner. So I thought teaching is the best profession, suits that kind of mindset. Okay, so this is the brief introduction. I just wanted to give it to myself. Uh, just to about yourself so far. Maybe, I mean, if you look at your journey, either in the past or what your journey will be ahead, maybe we can cover up few points. So how is your life during registration and during examination? The role will get reversed. This one point I would like to make it clear. We are going to have a long sessions. Of course, I will give you appropriate breaks, no doubt about it. But because it will be constant continuous sessions in between, I will try to tell some jokes. If you feel like, laugh at it or smile at it or ignore it, your choice. Because I used to tell at the beginning, when I used to take classes, that okay, I will tell one joke now. Then people have told me, sir, you don't announce that whether it is joke or not. You tell. If it is a joke, we laugh at it. So from that point onwards, I'm not announcing it. If you feel like, you make the appropriate decision. But my suggestion, laugh your heart out. The reason is, if you don't laugh enough at this age, if you're too serious at this age, if you don't laugh at yourself as a practice, what will happen to you? You don't have to think too much. When you're in the morning, you go nearby park, lot of people will be doing morning walking, jogging, and also there will be one set of people who will be forcefully laughing, some ha 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 ha, some different way of varieties they will be laughing. Why? Because in their engage they were too serious, looking at something else, not looking at themselves and taking it on a lighter note. Anyway, um, anyway, just want to tell you that. So it is good for your health and you make a decision. This is the one point I have to discuss. Uh, I think more, your exams will be in the November, right? I think most of you must be writing the exam in November. Let us take the accounting as an example. Let us take the accounting itself, the paper one as example. What is the passing mark? You know what is the definition of passing mark? It's a boundary. If you get more than this, it is a pass. If you get less than this, then it is a fail. Can you tell me what could be that number? If you get more than that, it is a pass. If you get less than that, then it is a failure. 40. Definitely a common answer. Okay. So if you score 39, then it is a fail. Yes, that is true. If you score 41, is it pass? Can you tell me with certainty, 100% confidence, I score 41? Yes, I have cleared this exam. You can't say that. I've seen so many instances that you have scored 40 plus, but still you are not sure of clearing it. You can score 41, you can fail. Sorry, you can score 59 and you can still fail, and you can score 41, you can still pass. It is like a contingent event depending on the performance of other subjects. Or now you can say, some people say 60 then. Yes, 60 or more, you are cleared. But 59, is it 100% fail? You're very confident you're fail? No. So question is, the what is a passing mark? In fact, when I was studying my inter, we had only 6 subjects. Your seniors had 7 subjects. You people have 8 subjects. Future, we don't know what will happen. You better pass the exam. Anyway, so when I was doing my inter, result came. One of my friend called his parents on the phone. Yeah, at that time, we were mostly using this coin booth. So you put the one coin and he called his parent and told, I've cleared all the exams. All 6 subjects pass. So parents were very, very happy there. Then he told, next time I have to write all 6 subjects again. Normal human beings with normal IQ cannot understand this, cannot even feel this. So what is the expectation of institutes in a simple words? Of 40 into 8 should be equal to 400. You're writing 8 subjects, minimum 40 each, but total 320 not sufficient. Total you have to cover 400. There is a gap. What is what popularly called as aggregate. And many people I've seen at inter level and final level when I was doing CA, even now at this point in time, most people pass the subject but fail in this aggregate. Now, if I look at why is that? Because people don't prepare for it consciously, they wait for it to happen. See, your passing on an average is 50%, but you cannot get in all subjects 50 each. That's not a perfect world we are in. So if I have to define passing mark, it is between 40 to 59. Less than 50, you're fail for sure. More than 59, you're pass for sure. Between 40 to 59, we don't know. This is the gray area. We don't know whether it is going to be pass or fail. The aggregate matters, and most students get stuck in this point. Okay. Now we have identified there is an issue. Now, what we should do about it? That is an important point. That is one thing I observe people in general. People keep on complaining that the politics is not good, the road is bad, Indian government don't do enough jobs. You see that there is a complaint everywhere. Bangalore traffic is the worst thing in the world. The slowest thing in the world, to give an example, is Bangalore traffic. We always complain. Yes, there is a problem. The second question, what do you do about it? No, I don't do anything about it. That is always my concern. So be ready for these kind of some extra GAN sessions also. It is comes as a byproduct. You can't avoid. You have to listen. Whether you follow it or not, that is in your hands. There is a problem, but what do you do about it? Now, passing mark is an issue. That aggregate you're not going to happen. Now, if you go back one step backward and think, okay, why this aggregate system is in place? Of course, you may think, oh, the institute is trying to make the student life more harder, as if our subjects are not enough. These kind of rules also will add more salt to the pain what we have. But these things are there for a reason, my dear friend. Reason why, if you ask the question why, your way of understanding in general will improve a lot. Okay, anyway, the institute expectation is this: CA is a professional course. After passing a CA exam, you are called as you are in practice. What do you mean by that? If you are an expert, why should you be in practice? Isn't that strange? Expert being in practice. The reason is this, that you're not a perfection just because you passed the exam. It is a learning forever. That is why you are in practice, still learning, still practicing. So coming back to the topic, the aggregate is there for this reason. This is a professional course, and you cannot be an expert in all the subjects. You have 8 subjects. Each subject is a specialization by itself. Therefore, institute expects now itself, when you are in a student level itself, start specialization. Focus on 1 or 2 subjects little bit extra. Okay, I like accounts. Then I should be able to score 70 plus, 80 plus. This is my observation, my dear friends. A person who scored 80 plus in one subject, very less probability that they will fail. Most probably they will pass the exam even in aggregate. You got my point? You have to score 70 plus, 80 plus in one subject, or at max 2 subjects, so that you will get average 50% plus. You cannot say 50, 50, 50, 50. That is not going to happen. And you cannot wish, oh, let the aggregate happen, I will give my best. No, you have to have a focused approach. You should make things happen. Of course, we cannot do everything in life, but you have to do your effort. You have to prepare for it. I usually invest in stock market, and I follow that. So a lot of my examples will be around it. So please don't blame me for that. So the Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, one of the question was asked, like, do you know when the stock market is going to fall and what you're going to do about it? And he said in one of the interviews, I don't know when the stock market is going to fall, but I'm prepared for it. What an amazing statement that is, not only for the stock market, but in general. Anyway, back to this topic. So, aggregate is a problem. You can't wait, okay, let it happen. We should do something about it. And what we should do something about it? Take a subject and focus on that. Try to score extra mark in that. Do not try to treat all 8 subjects similar. It is not. Every subject has a different flavor. It requires a different intelligence. Everybody is different, and your way of length, your way of understanding will be different. For example, for me, I am more comfortable with numbers, number crunching, data analytics. So accounts, financial management was my core area then, and is my core area now. I teach accounts, I practice financial management. I also give consultancy in accounting on IFRS reporting and so on. And that is what my bread and butter. I'm not good at law. I mean, I know decent law, but I'm not good at tax. And you may not be able to identify yourself, but that is the effort. You should do it. Take somebody's help, understand yourself, which is your core area. Try to focus more on that and try to score 70 plus, 80 plus. That is what I have done. In my accounts, I've got 89 in my intermediate, and in auditing, I got some 44 or 45, almost half. And that is the marks of a third rank holder. Anyway, so all these discussions, I hope you understood the end purpose, that please choose a subject of your choice and try to give more on that. For example, if tax is your subject, don't limit yourself to the boundary of what is done in the classes. Go extra, read certain case laws, read the latest developments, circulars, and Bear Act. Like your area of the subject, you try to spend more time, go beyond the syllabus, and that is where you can score extra marks. And don't be too optimistic and say, I will score all subjects 80 plus. It never happened in the history of CA so far, from the year 1949 till today. Nobody have scored 80 plus in all subjects in the exam what they've written. So if you try to say, I will try to prepare for all subjects 80 plus, then help yourself. Please book a bed in a mental hospital. I'm sure you are going to need one. You cannot be an expert in everything in life. You have to accept that fact. Anyway, I hope the point is clear. Aggregate is a main issue, and the solution for that, in my opinion, is pick a subject, put extra efforts, score 80 plus. On an average, you will be able to score 50%. I hope that point is clear. And uh, if you have any doubts in between, please make sure that you get that clarified. Uh, do not delay your doubts. You know what I mean? This is going to be a full session, long sessions. And if you think that I will ask the doubt later, you will forget the doubts. And I have to look at your face and then I have to guess what could be your doubt and I have to answer based on that. And as and when you get your doubts, get it clarified. And that is my duty. I don't know about how other faculties will do it. If you ask more questions, the most happiest person is myself. I enjoy the class more if you ask more questions. Also, it is a feedback mechanism for me. If you ask questions, I will know, oh, these people are thinking on these lines. I have to fine tune my explanation on those lines to share my experience. After passing the CA exam, I mean, after getting the corporate life, I took one class for mathematics, maths, mentally affected teacher harassing students, MATHS. Anyway, in my foundation level maths and stats, I got 100 out of 100. So I was super confident on the foundation on the subject. I did practical stuff. I worked for the equity research firm, valuation stuff, statistics and all was applied there. So I took a class for CPT at that point in time. The class was went on well. At the end of the session, I took the feedback. The feedback was this: your class was amazing, but we have not understood anything. So that is where the reality struck me that teaching is not about explaining what you know. It's about making them understand what they're required to know. And for that purpose, understanding you is more important to me. So if you ask question, of course, I cannot come to each and everyone and I cannot do a psychology analysis of what is your favorite color, where do you work, who is your girlfriend, boyfriend. I cannot spend on those types understanding you. But the questions you ask will act like a feedback for me based on which I can fine tune my explanation. I'm not telling I'm going to be the best faculty, but I'll definitely assure you I will give my best efforts in making sure you get the understanding. Anyway, so the point again I want to try to make there is ask doubts. Any kind of questions you ask, it is encouraged. That is my duty. That is my job to answer you. Okay, this is a normal story in most of the classes which I was part of as a student as well as a faculty. In the class, everybody will be enjoying, somehow the faculty will be struggling, and you come to the examination, somehow the role will get reversed. In the class, you enjoy, faculty struggle, somehow in exam, role will get reversed. And this is one common problem of most of our students. In class, everything is simple, smooth, so soft. Every question is easy. But in exam, what subject is this? What topic is this? The most confusing thing part. It's a common thing. But usually people complain other way in my classes. Anyway, you'll understand going forward. That is, it is if you feel in our classes I'm solving some complicated problems, this is the reason. I don't want you feel comfortable in my class. That is not I want. I don't want that. I want people to feel confused in my class. I want people to be afraid of the adjustments we're going to do. Of course, over a period of time, we try to slowly reduce that. The confidence should evolve over a period of time. It should not come the day we start any subject. The starting point is confusion, and over a period of time, that should get resolved and you should get confidence of the topics. Anyway, you remember what your life? Of course, until you pass the CA exams for sure. CA exam is definitely a challenging course. It requires a lot from you. And after that, it does not mean life becomes easier. It just means that you get used to being more stronger. So until you pass the exam, please remember these three sentences in mind. Heated gold becomes ornament. Beaten copper is called as wire. Compressed carbon is called as diamond. And heated, beaten, and compressed person is called as a chartered accountant. There is no exception and there is no exemption or reservation. Everybody has to follow the same rigorous process. So it takes and you give it. As simple as that. Anyway, so this is what we have wanted to cover introduction about me and about you. Whatever I imagined, I shared it. The resource content I'm going to cover with the accounting mostly. So I have shared the material. I hope you would have got the material. The institute would have shared with the all the form and the materials. If you have a printout, that will be useful so that you can follow the content faster. And most of the whatever sources I've taken is from institute material itself, either from study material or from RTP or from previous year question papers. So my material content is very simple. I also would recommend you to stick to that study material, previous year questions. Simple. Do not complicate anything beyond this. If you want to understand more about accounting, like the way I told you, you want to specialize in the area of accounting, then you should do the extra work. Follow the practical things. See what is a IFRS will tell you, the accounting practices. I mean, that is an extra thing. But in the class, I'm not going to address that. I'm going to address the base level. So the resource content as far as the accounting is concerned, study material plus previous year question paper sufficient, and my class material will mostly comprise of both. But even then, after doing my classes, I would still recommend please read the study material and the previous year question paper. That is during your revision time you can take care of it. So very simple, my classes and then study material. Approach what we are going to follow is straightforward. I will always focus on the concepts rather than solving many problems. Of course, we are going to do enough number of problems, but I will focus on why some things to be done. What is the reason behind existence of certain practices? To give one basic example, accounting, uh, debit credit is the basics of accounting. For debit, we use the short form dr. For credit, we use the short form cr. Credit, I understand, cr, credit is there, but in debit, why do we use dr? Where is r coming from? Have you ever thought about it? In debit, why should I write dr? Don't tell me gyan like sir, creditor debtor. No, no, that is not the reason. Any idea? In the short form, why will give you dr for debit? Yes, Bala is telling this. It is Latin word, absolutely correct. It is a Latin word, debire, credire. Debire became debit. So debire, D is there, R is there. Credire, C is there, R is there. There is always a reason behind using any terminology or any practice. and you have to appreciate that. Again, a few more experience I share, my understanding. Please do your research from your side sometime to validate that. You know, um, whenever we take any new vehicle, bike, car, people put lemon and they run over it. If you closely look at why it used to be there in the past, before these vehicles came in, this two-wheeler, four-wheeler, animals were used, horse, cows, and whatever. Uh, Animals were used for moving from one place to another place. For example, horse. And at those times, used to travel in difficult places, forests, and lot of, mountains. So when a living animal puts on something and it bleeds, so as an antiseptic thing, the lemon was used. So when animal walks on that, the lemon juice will get attached to that, so that if something happens, some pain happens, uh, it can sustain it. It acts like an antiseptic. That was the reason why that practice was evolved. And now we have the four-wheeler, two-wheeler. It has no sense to follow it. That is what I have understood. You do your research. The point I'm trying to tell you is understand why. Ask the question why. Why should be done like this? Why not other way around? And sometimes few things are of practice. For example, in India, we go on left side, we come on right side. That's the traffic system, right? In roads, in left we go, in right we come. You go to Dubai, you go to US, it is opposite. They go in right and come in left. They go in right and come in left, opposite. Again, if you look at the reason, because we were a colony of the British, and British has the system of going in left and coming in right. In fact, wherever you go, British is always a problem. They do wrong things. They do opposite things than normal. Anyway, so that is why, because we were a colony, their practices are still being followed. Nothing good or bad, but be aware of the reason, practice, customs. Accounting is also a reason of practice evolved over a period of time. More than rules, the practices takes precedence, because the accounting is there for a purpose, and the purpose has been evolved over a period of time. So keep these things point in mind. So that is going to be my approach. Chapter wise, I'm going to handle few chapters. I'm sure you must be aware of it. As and when we go further, we can move in that direction. Okay. So when I mean by logical examples, I would like to give you a small example on that. What do you mean by understand the logical aspect or conceptual aspect? Because I'm also maths faculty, I just give one math example. You know what is the world famous formula in mathematics? Whenever we say mathematics, we tell this formula. What do you think that formula is? The most famous formula in the history of mathematics. So whenever I say formula, I'm not talking about theorem. And simple formula I'm asking. The moment somebody says, oh, mathematics formula, algebra formula, a plus b square, right? That's what mostly people would refer to as a plus b the whole square. And what is this? A square, 2ab, and b square. That's what everybody knows. And some people I've seen on social media, on Facebook, WhatsApp, posting themselves. One day have gone in my life without using a plus b whole square. I'm sure some of you also might be thinking, why should any be learning a plus b whole square in life? Where are you going to use that? First, Now, a plus b whole square, let me try to give one other way of visualization of this formula. Some people might know, but most people don't know. Let me address it. So a plus b, I'll draw a line. The length of the line is a, b. So total length is a plus b. Now I need a square. So I will draw a square. So this length is a and this length is b. Okay. Now, what is the area of this picture what you observe? The first one, what you see, A on length and A on width. You know the area, right? We multiply both. 30, 40 side, 30 into 40, 1200 square feet. So A into A, that is A square. Similarly, if I come to this one, A here, B here, so this is AB. And here B and A, so if I multiply, that also gives me AB. And this is B and B, so this becomes B square. So what do you see? The area of A plus B whole square can be described as A square once, B square twice, AB is there two times. At least you feel now, oh, this formula has some meaning. Okay, even this you may not use it in day-to-day life. But my point is, you cannot read only what is required in day-to-day life. You have to evolve, you have to learn over a period of time. So when the formula is taught to you, when a concept is taught to you, it is not to use immediately as it is. It is to train your brain how to think, how to analyze. You can also think like this. What is this mathematics full of problems? Only problems only, no. Life is also full of problems. The maths, the accounting also will be full of problems. But my point of view, my point of view is yes, it is a full of problems. It is full of problems. It has solutions. We just don't know the method of solution, approach for getting solution. Life is also like that. There is a problem, there is a solution, and how do we get it is our ultimate objective. So by doing these problems in accounting, or in financial management, or in mathematics, the objective is not to use it as it is. Of course, it's a professional course, most of them you will, but your way of thinking should be, this problem is there, how do I solve? The problem solving mindset. What's that? What kind of mindset? Problem solving mindset. That should be there. The same thing you can adopt in your professional career and your personal life. Anyway, so that's what the approach I was trying to just give you an example at. Anyway, so books, videos, social media. I mean, I'll also have some YouTube sessions. You can watch it. Some YouTube content is there. Books, I told you, material, I have shared it with you. Approach, I just cleared. Overall, how does it apply? My job is to make sure I explain the logical concepts with practical examples, and I'll try to cover various varieties so that we get practice. And somewhere, some shortcuts, some standard techniques like consolidation format is there. Most people don't know. I'll try to share all those techniques as well. The only things from your side is please make sure that you ask questions, as I told you earlier itself, to make the class more interactive. Okay. Okay, before we start, little bit about the accounting and definitions and so on. Do you have any questions from your side? Anything in general you want to understand? Usually I wait for this 1 or 2 minute, I pause so that you absorb, you digest what is happening, and if you come up with any doubts or questions, you can answer. Okay, great. Let us go to the little bit of subject, and then we can definitely go to the syllabus what we have. The subject what we have is accounting. To start the basics, accounting is what? Is accounting a science or accounting is an art? Don't tell me it is artistic science. That is Nityananda. You want Rama Krishna? He says Ramakrishna. So art or science, artistic science. Anyway, yes, it is a combination of both. But actually, we would say, sir, it is neither art nor science. It is commerce. Don't you think? It is commerce. Anyway, now when we say art, what do we mean? When we say science, what do we mean? Any idea? We use these two words very in other conversations also, right? Oh, it is an art. It is a science. When we use it is an art, what do you mean by that? When we use it is a science, what do you mean by that? Try to answer that question. When we say it is a science, what is that? It is an art. What is that? Art is personal? No, that is not the thing. Science on based on facts, and we have to do prescribed way. Art is on definite way. Science is factual. Okay. Art is subjective, behavioral. Okay, that is, I would say, more closer. Definitely, art is subjective in the sense when we say science, there is no second thoughts. Yes, that's what many people told based on facts. So there is a gravitational force. People will fall, mobile will fall, laptop will fall, and when you feel emotional, the tears also will fall. Science applies everywhere, but art is subjective. What do you mean by the word subjective? You can have multiple methods and all of them might be correct. For example, movies. There are romantic movies, there are comedy movies, and there are CA students. I mean, there are romantic movies, comedy movies, and there are horror movies, thriller, and so on. But which one of them is the correct artistic form? There's nothing right that some people like comedy movies, some people like romantic movies, some people like thriller movies. That just because you like comedy movies does it mean the romantic movie is not a form of art? Art means subjective, multiple methods may exist, and all of them are correct. In science, it is not the case. There are predefined way of doing it. There is no subjectivity involved in science. I mean, in science, and when I use the word scientific way, that's the interpretation I'm trying to adopt. Okay, now what about the definition of accounting as given by CPA, American Institute of Certified Public Accounts? They say this definition: art of recording, classifying, summarizing in a significant manner, and in terms of money transactions, events which are in part at least of a financial character, and interpreting the results thereof. It is art of recording. So when I use the word art, there are multiple methods exist. It is not a complete science, but recording, classifying in certain significant manner. So there are some rules defined. There is science to it. So yes, it is a combination of both. Okay, just to give an example, what is this art would mean? You know all about journal entries, debit, credit. Now take an example of a journal entry. Auto charges paid. Auto charges paid. What journal entry? Auto charges to cash. Traveling expense to cash. Conveyance expense to cash. If it is for an official purpose, admin expense to cash. If it is by a salesperson, marketing expense to cash. To bank also, you might pay using Phone Pay, Google Pay now. So all of them is correct, but in a significant manner. So you try to make sure that they serve the purpose. That is what we cannot show in accounting standards. What journal entry to be passed. This the accounting standards which you're going to learn can give you guidance in terms of money, transactions, and events. Each term of it you would have understood in detail in the past. I'm not going behind it. I'm just trying to focus on this one word called as art. Okay, I was conversating with one of the experienced fund manager, not available in public media, but he has built a very strong portfolio management service company, and I was having the opportunity of interacting with him. So he is a chartered accountant, and he was a uh, Dalal Street magazine editor. Then he started his own fund management company, and now he's retired. He's a chartered accountant, no? So I was discussing with him few things regarding accounting practices and how it reported in financial management and all. He was telling there are so many things in accounts. If you understand the background, its interpretation can be immense. Even the fraud identification can be understood. Simple example he was giving me. I'm sure you also will be able to follow it. Let me see if you can also answer that. One company was showing bogus sales. You know, bogus sales means they wanted to fudge their accounts. So they kept on showing more sales, more sales, more sales. In fact, Satyam did that. They also showed more salary expense, and we'll discuss maybe when we have time. So now a company was showing more sales to report a higher revenue in the market. But if you show more sales as an accountant or as an auditor, you should be able to identify its effect. Where will you see its consequence? How do you ensure the revenue is a genuine revenue without going physical place? That we cannot do it on a day-to-day basis. Using the accounting language, we have P&L, we have balance sheet. In P&L, revenue comes. Yes, you can look at cash flow, but cash flow will not be there, right? If you show bogus sales, where the cash flow will come? So cash flow will not be there. Invoice, you'll not be able to make it. Anybody can make an invoice. Just make an Excel sheet, invoice format, take a printout. So if you show bogus revenue, if it is not showing in cash, where else it will come? Your accounting students, think simple. I'm sure you know it. All of you know it. Receivables, absolutely. Debtors, trade receivable, double entry concept, isn't it? If sales are growing, debtors are growing by the same amount, it purely means the revenue is questionable. So when you look at a balance sheet, look at the receivables. Is receivable more than 6 months, 8 months? Consistently increasing between 2 years. For example, the sales was 1800 crores. Next year it became 2,000 crores increased by 200. This is sales. Debtors was 400 crores and they became 590 crores. What do you observe here? The increase of 200 crore sales comprising 190 crore increase debtors only. You understand my point? A simple double entry system, if you apply your mind, so many obvious things can be caught in terms of an auditor, which most of you are going to be, or if you choose a profession of financial management, fund management like me, to understand the balance sheet and interpreting the results. The job of an accounting is not just to record, but it should travel throughout the end purpose interpretation. At least the reporting structure should enable the interpretation, and you, being the students of accounts, should know how to interpret. We are going to learn the basics: accounting, debit, credit, nominal account, real account, trial balance, P&L, balance sheet, accounting standard. All that is true, but also focus on interpreting. When you look at the balance sheet, you are going to be the auditor. Is the auditing subject already completed for you or not yet? Not yet. Okay, no problem. It's good. So when you have a subject of auditing, you will definitely get a flavor of it. How do you ensure things are on, I mean, proper method or not? Verification basically. And that is theoretical. But when you do practical auditing at a small company level, at a bigger company level, we are part of Big Four, PwC, EY, or other firms like Grant Thornton. How will you look at the companies? Or you also can do something called as fraud accounting, that is certified fraud, I mean, CFE course is there, or forensic accounting, where people try to understand what is wrong, fraud investigation. I mean, you have so many career option open. It's not just going to be your traditional auditing. Of course, if you do well, that also has a good scope rather than just following auditing format and auditing standards. If you can bring in these value addition, your insights, it will be of great help to yourself and to the company. And anyway, you're going to learn all these ratios also. In financial management, you have ratio analysis. A lot of all these things can be used to interpret the performance of the company and also the intention of the management, things like this. Anyway, so I just want to tell you, accounting is like a language. It speaks, you have to understand. If you can understand the accounting language, you can understand the whole commercial world, which is balance sheet, P&L ultimately. Anyway, so that is about the basics definition which you must be aware of. Yeah, okay. So as we just discussed, what are the key areas in accounting that you should always focus? You have to record the events. What transaction has taken place, you would like to report it, record it, and then reporting it. The users, the investors can understand. It's more of an art than science, but ultimately the accounting subject, accounting standard, cash flow statement, consolidation, amalgamation, whatever it is, stick to basics: debit, credit, whatever tally can come, ERP, Oracle can come, debit, credit. The basics I told you is the double entry system, the best thing, the simplest thing, the basic thing in accounting world. What is that? Double entry. The example I gave you, you show more sales, there has to be either cash or debtors. If debtors are consistently increasing without proper explanation, we have to ask questions. I mean, I'm just give an example. Sticking to the basics of the double entry system, lot of things can be evolved or developed on top of it. Anyway, question paper pattern, I hope you're aware of it. Question number one is compulsory. Usually you will have 4 questions of 5 marks. So question number one, 20 marks. Question 2 to 6 will be 20 marks each, but you can choose any 4. So one choice extra will be there. And the 20 marks can be any combination. It can be 10 marks, 10 marks. It can be 16 marks, 4 marks. It can be 8 marks, 8 marks, 4 marks. That can be any combination. You will have one choice here. This is the structure of the question paper format that you must be aware of. The process of our learning is going to be logical explanation of the concepts. Uh, so practice with quite a few problems. You go home and solve study material question. Simple 3 process: logical explanation, solve in the class, study material questions. And as you approach the exam, maybe last 1 month or 2 months, you can solve previous year question papers to get the practice. Simple, nothing complicated beyond it. Okay. Okay, this is the basics of accounts that I just want to cover. Before we start with the topic, if you have any question from your side, I'll wait for 1 or 2 minutes. Okay, great. Let's go further. Let us start now. The basics of accounting standards. To give everyone basic idea, let's say a vendor purchases one apple for rupees 100. He purchases another apple for 105, and he purchases another apple for 110. Different dates, price changes. And he sells one apple for rupees 120. Selling price 120, one apple. Now, what is his profit? 120 minus 100. So 100 is correct. Sorry, 120 minus 100 is 20 is correct. 120 minus 105, 15 is correct. Or 120 minus 110, 10 rupees correct. Which one is the correct profit in your opinion among the three? Okay, 15, 20, 10. I'm getting all the messages. Okay. There is no one answer to this. The question is, which apple is sold? Which apple is sold? We don't know. Then, then it boils down to certain method of valuation of inventory. Most popular method, FIFO, first in, first out. So if you follow that, then first apple is sold. So first apple is sold is 100, cost is 100, selling price 120, so profit is 20. So if the accounting says profit is 20, it is correct. Yes, it is correct. But how does the user, reader of the accounts will know which method is followed? Then we have to disclose the notes to accounts. So there has to be certain method to madness. Which method to be followed is the first question. And once you follow, you have to follow consistently and you should report it. So all these things are covered in accounting standard. So accounting standard talks about four major areas. We have accounting standards, Indian accounting standards, accounting standard interpretations, guidance notes, and so on. Ultimately, accounting standards are set of principles that standardize the accounting practice. So you see the practice, right? Accounting method, FIFO method of valuation, LIFO method also is fine. Weighted average cost is there. So many methods are there. So you would like to make a standardization of accounting practice is accounting policies. Accounting talks about four major areas. Please don't write it now. I will give you sufficient time for you to write. That's one problem I always had when I was a student in my law classes. That faculty is no more now, but when I was attending law classes, no, that faculty was like this. When I used to write, he'll be like, "What you're writing? Look at me." Then I used to look at him. He'll be like, "What are you looking at me? Write down." So I always had that confusion to look at him or to write down, to look at him or to write down. So in my classes, if you have to write down something, I'll wait. And if I'm explaining something, you wait. Simple agreement. And a lot of the standards what I've simplified in a chart format like this. And these charts will definitely help you a day before exam more than any other day, because in a simplified format, in a small format, important words, important concepts in one place. So these charts, and when you write in your own hands, it will be even more useful to you. So it's important you write that in the class, not take a screenshot and then you copy it down somewhere. This and all I've seen enough in my life so far. So don't try to take a picture of this and tell I will copy later. The later will not come. Even if it takes 2 minutes extra, you tell me, I will wait. You will copy it down in the sessions. And anyway, I'll give you the time, so don't worry about it. So let me explain it. Then I'll give the time for you to copy it down. Only if you say yes, then only I'll go further. Okay, let me explain. So accounting standards, as I told you, is a way of standardization of accounting policies, accounting practices. Four major contents. Some standards talk about few and some standards talk about all of them. Recognition, measurement, presentation, disclosure. Recognition. Should we recognize in the books of accounts or not? I have purchased machinery. Okay, machinery is an asset, but there is depreciation. How to recognize? How much? That is measurement. Whether to recognize in the books or not is recognition. I have filed an insurance claim. I don't know whether I get the money or not. Should I wait for the claim to come to me, or I will recognize once the claim is accepted as receivables? When to recognize, whether to recognize, recognition. How much is measurement? Presentation, where to disclose? In the notes to accounts or in the face of P&L? What description should I provide? Presentation, for example, in case of fixed assets, property, plant, equipment, the format of the standard says you should show opening balance, purchases, deletions, closing balance. So you understand the flow of transactions within a year. Cash flow statement will have to show operating activities, investing activities, financing activities. So presentation talks about what are the method on which the elements are shown. Disclosure, qualitative aspects. For example, accounting policy, I told you, in inventory valuation, you can follow FIFO method. or you can follow weighted average cost method. Which one you follow? Disclose it. Got the point? Certain standards talks only about presentation disclosure. AS20, earnings per share. No recognition measurement over there. Certain standards talk about all four. PP, plant, property, equipment, talks about recognition, measurement, disclosure, presentation. So some standards talk all and some standards talk about only few. What are the types of accounting standards we have? One that everybody know, which we are going to understand by ICAI. The second, there is also accounting standards issued by MCA, Ministry of Corporate Affairs. And there is Ministry of Corporate Affairs accounting standards called as INDAS, Indian Accounting Standards. And guidance note is there. And also we have ICDS, Income Computation Disclosure Standards by Income Tax Department. Everybody has their own standards, and we are trying to say standards means standardization. I don't know where is the standards with so many standards. There is no standards for standards. But anyway, poor people, you and me don't have any choice. We have to learn. Okay. So accounting standards are the primary responsibility of our institute, Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. There are legal provisions which says that accounting standards must be followed. Who should follow? Section 133 of Companies Act. Central government has the power, and section 143.3, it is auditor responsibility to make sure that accounting standards are followed in the prescribed format. And also we have sections which says that uh, the companies are bound by accounting standards rules. Now anyway, let's say the section 133, central government has the power, and section 133 of which act? Section 133 of Companies Act. Now based on this, you tell me who should follow accounting standards based on the discussion up to this point. Who should follow accounting standards? Look, Companies Act, right? Because Companies Act section is we are reading, so companies should follow accounting standard. Now, does that mean that non-companies need not follow accounting standard? No. Why? That is what I want to update you. I'll come to the chart again, okay? I'll come to the chart once more, but I'd like to give you a little bit of background on this. Just give me 1 second. Okay, anyway. Before 1999, there was no provision in Companies Act. No provision in Companies Act. On accounting standards. So before 1999, there was no provision in Companies Act and accounting standards. That means companies are not compulsory to follow accounting standards. Yes. Then accounting standards were not compulsory. No. Here is the catch. Who issues accounting standards? It is issued by ICAI. And who are the members of ICAI? Chartered accountants. So when our institute, where we are member of, being chartered accountants, comes up with accounting standards, as a member, it is my membership responsibility to ensure all the accounting standards are followed. So even though it was not the responsibility of the companies, it was the responsibility of the auditor, the CA, while signing that accounting standards are followed. But in the year 1999, provision came in the Companies Act. Accounting standard must be followed by companies. And therefore, what is in effect now? That the account by MCA is applicable to companies. Accounting standards issued by MCA is applicable to companies, and accounting standards issued by ICI is applicable to non-companies. And then Ind AS came in, Indian Accounting Standards, which is basically Indian version of IFRS. That is, if you cross net worth of 250 crores, we are going to see that. Or you are a listed company, basically you are a big company, then for you Ind AS is applicable. So by MCA, I will say it's for big companies. Okay, so I hope you understood the journey of these accounting standards in a quick manner. Before 1999, ICI came up with accounting standards where the members used to follow. From 1999, the Companies Act made companies to follow accounting standard, which is issued by MCA. And from 2000, that is 1819 onwards, where big companies, they had to follow IFRS, so Ind AS came in. That is the journey of accounting standards. So as on date, I'll tell you what is a big company definition. We will discuss in a while. So for a big company, they will follow Ind AS. For a small company, they follow accounting standards issued by MCA. Non-corporate entities, partnership firms, trusts, HUF, individuals, they follow ICI. Basically, wherever CA is involved, if CA is involved, then they are not required to do anything. Where CA is involved, where CA will put signature, where CA will put his signature, if there is a tax audit. I am individual, let's say, if my income is 20 crore, my gross revenue 20 crore, I have to get the tax audit done. Tax audit done means a CA should sign. So he makes sure that accounting standards are followed. So when I say is accounting standard compulsory, yes, but who will ensure? The CA will ensure. So tomorrow don't go and ask this Churmuri fellow, this Belpuri fellow, Golgappa fellow, do you follow accounting standards? He will ask you, tumko kya chahiye? So if he is subject to tax audit, yes, even he is made to follow the accounting standards because the CAs, while signing the report, ensures accounting standards are followed. So for companies, it is compulsory. For non-companies, wherever CA is involved, it becomes compulsory. I hope you got the clarity of the application of standards, and between SCA and MCA, the accounting standard don't differ much. It is more or less same. So you can take down this chart. There is types of levels, level 1 entity, level 2 entity and all. We'll discuss more in detail. For the time being, you can write down this chart. I'll wait for 5 minutes. You write down slowly and see if you have any doubts. Okay, done. Good. Okay, let's move on. Hope people are back. Now we have understood the application of accounting standards, history, the background. Now we'll go to the applicability of to different types of entities. We are going to learn like this level 1 entity, level 2 entity, like that. But the level 1 entities has to follow all the requirements of accounting standards. Level 2 entities, some requirements are exempted, like that it is going to be there. But when we read the accounting standards, we are not going to be worried about it because we were going to learn as if everything is going to be applicable. But from examination questions point of view, they do ask these things. You should be aware of it. So let us understand the different types of entities applicable. Applicability of accounting standards. This you can also write along with me because the charts I'm writing it. Applicability of accounting standards. And I've got one of the greatest handwriting in the world that only few people can understand. So if you, in case if you're not able to follow it, you please tell me, I'll read it out. uh, I've, um, I've written this, not writing anything beyond this. I've written only this much, not beyond that. I was trying to adjust some the system settings, so I think it looked like I typed in something. Okay, so applicability of the accounting standards, that is as for applicable or issued by ICI, and issued by MCA, issued by ICI. We have basically four entities. Issued by ICI is basically AS, accounting standards. We have four types. So let me write like this: level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. So basically, level 1 will be larger entities, like it is applicable to All the accounting standards, they have to follow it, no exception. Level 2 will have some less exemptions and so on, but we are not going to learn those exceptions and all. We'll just look at the criteria for level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. Okay, so level 1, where turnover is more than 250 crores. All these numbers are in IPAY, immediate preceding accounting year. And in the material I've shared, the full forms are there, but here, if you write the full form, it takes too much of space, right? So I'll use the short form, immediate preceding accounting year. So we are in the year, let's say financial year 22-23, and we look at the previous year to classify the entities. Because first of all, a year end should happen, right? Accounting year should complete. The next year classification will take place. So IPAY, immediately preceding accounting year. Okay, or the turnover is more than 50 crores. Sorry, borrowings means loans more than 50 crores. Accounting year is compulsory financial year. Mostly it will be financial year only, because Companies Act says that the financial year will start from 1st of April and 31st of March. So accounting year will be mostly that. But there are some exception things available where you can go and take the approval of central government and you can make it as different year. So 99% of the companies in India will have financial year. So for exam purpose, you can go ahead with this financial year as accounting year. Second line is the borrowings, loan. So turnover more than 250 crores. So if turnover is more, you become level 1. Or if you take loan, borrowing more than 50 crores, that also you become a level 1 entity. So turnover more than 250 crores or borrowing more than 50 crores. So when I use the word turnover, it does not include other income, interest income, commission income, miscellaneous receipt will not take it, revenue, sales, revenue from operations. That is turnover. Borrowing, and they use the word borrowing at any time during the year. So if you take a loan of 60 crore and immediate next month you pay 20 crore, it becomes 40 crore. At the end of year, only 40 crore will be there. So at any time during the year, if it is more than 50 crore, that is point is satisfied. Level 2, the number will change slightly. Turnover is 50 crores, 50 to 250. Turnover is 50 to 250. And borrowings 10 to 50. Similarly, level 3, 10 to 50. And borrowing 2 to 10. Level 4 are others. And basically this is for non-corporate entities. Hope remember, right? Non-corporate entities. Because if it is a corporate, MCA will take place. So when you are a non-company, like individual, partnership, trust, HUF, wherever the CA has to sign in, it is the responsibility of the CA to make sure that accounting standards are followed. On classification of the entities, 4 levels as defined here. Read the last point. Last point is others, nothing else. Level 4 is others. If turnover is below 10 crore or borrowing is below 2 crores, remaining. Last point is others. Okay, so issued by MCA, there are two things which MCAs are issued. Can you repeat the borrowing point about in a year? Oh, that point you're asking. Borrowing exceeding, like on first point I'll tell the same thing applicable for level 2, level 3 also. Borrowing more than 50 crores. When they tell you borrowing, the borrowing amount need not be same amount throughout the year, right? It can fluctuate. So what they tell here is borrowing more than 50 crore at any point during the previous year. So you have taken a loan of 30 crore. You have taken a loan of 20 crore additional. So it became 50. You took additional 10. It became 60. Then after 2 months, you repaid 30. So 60 minus 30, it became 30. So at the end of the year, the outstanding is 30 crore. But they say don't look at this point. At any time during the previous year, if it crossed 50 crore even for one day, this point is satisfied. Borrowing more than 50 crore at any point during immediate preceding accounting year. Okay. Now, issued by MCA, there are broadly two as on date. One is Ind AS, Indian Accounting Standard. Other is AS, Accounting Standards. What we have written for level 4? Level 4 is others. That is the turnover 10 to 50 crore become level 3. Below 10 crore, you become level 4. That is, you are not satisfying the turnover, you are not satisfying the borrowing, you become level 4. Level 4 is remaining others. Yeah. So issued by MCA, two things are there. One is Ind AS, other is AS. So Ind AS is basically for listed companies or net worth more than rupees 250 crores. Net worth means share capital plus reserves and surplus. Net worth of a company more than 250 crores, or they are listed companies, they have to follow Ind AS. If not listed company, others remaining companies, then accounting standard will have two levels. One is SMC, small medium company. SMC, small medium company. Then non-SMC, non-SMC. Small medium company, non-small medium company. SMC, non-SMC. Non-SMC means big. So small medium company means all these things to be satisfied. All these things. If you have to be small, you have to be small in every aspect. It is not listed in India or outside India. Not listed. Not bank. Or financial institution. Not listed. Not bank. Turnover less than 50 crore, turnover less than 250 crore, borrowing less than 50 crore, and not a holding or subsidiary of above. Not holding or subsidiary of above. And non-SMC means others. So SMC means not listed, not bank or a financial institution, turnover less than 250 crores, borrowing less than 50 crores, not holding or subsidiary of the above. All five conditions to be satisfied. If yes, then it is a small medium company. Even if one point you're not satisfied, your turnover is more than 250 crore or borrowing more than 50 crore or your holding company of these things, any one point satisfied, you become non SMC. Write it carefully. I'll wait, and once done you can confirm. If a company has turnover of more than 250 crore, net worth more than 250 crore. Turnover, I mean net worth more than 250 crore, straight away you come to Ind AS. That's why I written that first. If a company is a listed company, net worth does not matter. If it is a net worth more than 250 crores, one of the two satisfied, you apply Ind AS. You don't even look at accounting standards. Great. And Ind AS is not part of our syllabus now, but I do talk about Ind AS little bit because some theory question can suddenly come on one point. So I do talk about Ind AS little bit, but our syllabus now is going to be on accounting standard. Last point under SMC, not a holding or subsidiary of the above. It should not be holding company of any of the above items. It should not be subsidiary of any of the above type of company. Not a holding or a subsidiary of the above. Okay, take your time and write it. That is what one thing I always request. What you write in your hands stays with you longer. What you just read, that is, I would say, third level. What you write, second level. What you do, first level. So when you listen to somebody else, when you read something else, that is the least preference. When you write something, it is more effective. And if you can do something where you are part of some of these activity, and when you're part of something, you'll remember it better. Effectiveness will be better. Anyway, so these charts, wherever possible, make sure you write it slowly. It is my responsibility to wait. So when you write, it will be effective. So you don't have to write, I mean, read again after the class and all. Revision will be very faster because when you have write in your own hands, it's closer to your heart. Okay. So regarding Ind AS, I'll just talk about it briefly. Points are there in the material. You can go through that. Accounting standards, we have 1 to 32. Some of them are withdrawn and some of them are not applicable to SMCs. Will not worry about it. We are going to read it anyway. And there is something called as guidance notes. So when the ICI has not, or MCA don't have an accounting standards, but they wanted to give some sort of guidance to the members and accounting practitioners, like accounting for ESOP, employee stock option plan. The accounting standard don't is not there, not in place. So the guidance has to be given. So guidance note on accounting standard ESOP is issued. But for us anyway, we are going to read it. Don't worry. So they are called as guidance notes. So the main difference is accounting standards are compulsory in nature. Guidance notes are recommendatory notes, because guidance notes are don't have mandatory authority, but we should consider as a accounting practitioner. But let's talk about accounting standards. So 1 to 32 are there. We are going to learn some in part 1 and some in part 2. Ind AS. So we Indians always followed accounting standards. But different countries had their own accounting standards. Actually, we call it as GAAP, Indian GAAP, generally accepted accounting policies or practices. So we have accounting standards, we have guidance notes, we have accounting standard interpretations, all of them put together. What we follow holistically, that's called as GAAP, not GAP, GAAP. Like Indian GAAP, there is UK GAAP, there is US GAAP. So everybody follows their own accounting standards. So internationally, there was no common platform. So then something called as International Accounting Standard Board was formed, and International Financial Reporting Standards (IFRS) came in, where they started taking the different countries' confidence. You join, UK, you join, European countries, you join, India, you join. So it took the confidence of different countries, especially MNCs who have in different places. How do they prepare consolidated the financial statements if everybody followed different formats and different practices? So this International Accounting Standard Board thought of harmonizing all of them into one, where they influenced India also. But India is the largest democracy in the world. Can we adopt somebody else's accounting standard as it is? It will hurt our ego, right? I mean, don't take it literally. I just told you as a passing comment. It will not be comfortable for a country like India to adopt the International Financial Reporting Standards, IFRS. Instead of adopting, we have taken the decision of convergence to IFRS. So we have accounting standards. We would like to go to IFRS, and the path taken is convergence process. So Ind AS has been introduced. Ind AS is the IFRS version applicable to Indian companies. So when a listed company or net worth more than 250 crore, most likely MNC bigger company, if they adopt Ind AS, which will be almost same as IFRS, and therefore to help them prepare internationally consolidated accounts from different countries become smoother, because from AS to IFRS lot of differences are there. Ind AS to IFRS very few. So I hope you got the concept. Convergence of accounting standards to IFRS is adopted with the help of Ind AS. Ind AS is the version of IFRS applicable to Indian companies with smaller changes and modifications. Anyway, don't write like this in exam. Just for understanding, I will tell you. So we Indians, whichever language it is, we copy from Hollywood, and we make Indian movie remake or free make, whatever you call, but we make slight changes. We say nativity changes. That's what it's in days. IFRS taken as it is. IFRS 1, I mean, International Accounting Standard 1, IFRS, I mean, Ind AS. IFRS 2, Ind AS 2. Like that, it has been done with small changes for adopting to Indian requirements. And what are the broad points that are different in IFRS or Ind AS with accounting standards? Are principles. Accounting standards are more of rule based, format based, because Indian mindset is rule based. First of all, rule only we don't follow. Do you think we follow principle? Rule is there. Red, you have to stop. Green, you have to go. Yellow, you have to start. That's the thing, right? Green means you should go. Yellow means you can slow down. Red means you should stop. But we Indians do differently. Green, go fast. Yellow, go faster. Red, look left, right. Nobody's there, you go. So we Indian follow rule like this. Do you think we follow principles? Anyway, so IFRS is more of a principle based standard. More freedom is given, more authority is given, and choices are given. And whichever you choice you give, that uh, basis of forming opinion should be disclosed in the notes to account. So that Ind AS is more principle based, more freedom based, more concept based, time value of money based, whereas accounting standards are more rule based. Just to give one small example, how things in IFRS or Ind AS works out. I'm sure you heard of preference share capital. And where will you show in balance sheet preference share capital? I mean, I'm not sure you are aware of the format, but make a try. Where do we show preference share capital in balance sheet? Under share capital. So preference share capital amount I'm asking. You show under share capital, no? Preference share capital under share capital. Why will you show in notes to accounts? Preference share capital should come in balance sheet, right? I'm asking in balance sheet, where will you show? Under shareholders funds, equity, correct. You are right. No, under shareholders funds, we write it. Shareholders funds, right. But if you closely look at what is the nature of preference share capital, in the sense it has to be redeemed. I don't know if you know or not. In India, preference share capital has to be redeemed. You cannot issue a redeemable preference share more than 20 years. I'm not sure whether Companies Act have been completed or not. If not, you are going to learn about it. Okay, so let's say redeemable preference shares. Redeemable preference shares means the company has obligation to redeem. Isn't it same as obligation to repay loan? You may call as redemption of preference shares, I mean preference share capital, but what is its substance? It is a loan. So IFRS in the says you may call it as preference share capital, but you have to report it under loan liabilities. The name may be different, but the structure, underlying principle is more important than the legal form. Anyway, so just one example I gave you how the Ind AS IFRS is actually based on. More about Ind AS, more about IFRS, you will learn in final level. let us stick to accounting standards. Okay, so I hope you have written this chart. Yes. Okay. Okay. Then one small accounting standard setting process. It's more of a theory. I'm not going to spend too much of time. How the accounting standard board in India, we have ASB, accounting standard board will take up a position of how they form accounting standard. First, identify area. For example, the talk of the town for last few years at least is cryptocurrency. How to account for cryptocurrency? Is it a currency? Is it a investment? Is it a speculative asset? Still confusion is there. So I mean, as of now, we don't have any accounting standard yet. I just give an example. First, you identify the area, you constitute a study group, make a draft, and get the views of different bodies from accounting standard. I mean, ICAI, we have a cost accountant, company secretary, we have a federation of chambers of commerce. So get a representation from different people, prepare exposure draft, given to public for comment, then modify the draft and issue the final AS. Anyway, now in the modern day, there's also NFRA, National NFRA is what popularly we call it. Is expected to take the powers of ICI and more with them in terms of implementation of accounting standards. If somebody don't follow accounting standards, the consequence. So NFRA is also going to be a major thing. But anyway, these are all theory points. In the material, things are there in detail. You can glance through it. This one I told you earlier, before Companies Act and after Companies Act, how the things have changed. And recently from 1516, Ind-AS also is into applicability also I discussed. Yeah, so we have so many accounting standards, 32 accounting standards. Some are we are going to cover in part one, some we are going to cover it in part two. Quite a few names are there. Few are also withdrawn, like accounting standards 6 is withdrawn, accounting standard 8 is withdrawn. Anyway, as and when we cover, we are going to go for it. And quite a few guidance notes. We have separate chapters to cover, so we don't have to go through it one by one. That is not required at this stage. In days also, we have discussed briefly from exam point of view, that much is sufficient. Okay, let's go further. Let us take up this problem. I hope you have this question material with you. Just see. Okay, let's do this. Okay. Omega and Co, a partnership firm, had a turnover of 1.25 crores, excluding other income and borrowing of 0.95 crores in the previous year. It wants to avail the exemptions available in the applicable accounting standards to non-corporate entities for the year ended 31st March 2013. Advice. So turnover of 1.25 crores and borrowing of 0.95 crores. So we remember level 1, level 2, level 3 and level 4 entities, right? For non-corporate entities, we have to look at level 1, 2, 3, 4 only. For corporate entities, we will look at SMC, non-SMC. A partnership firm. So we have to go for non-corporate entity. So among these levels, which one do we apply? For level 1, what was the turnover of thing we are going to apply? For level 3, if you remember, what was the turnover cutoff in level 3? Turnover of 10 to 50. So level 4 will be 10 crores. And below 10 crore, right? This level 4 will be below 10 crore. Turnover less than 10 crores. Because 10 to 50 means level 3 will come below 10. Then borrowings 2 to 10. So borrowing will be below 2 crores. So turnover less than 10 crores, borrowing below 2 crores. So both are satisfied. Therefore, it is level 4 entity. I think, yeah, some of you have given it. It's fine. Level 4 entity. So applicable level 4. Okay. In the exam, how are we going to write these kind of answers? In accounting also it will come, in auditing also it will come, and in law also it will come, company law, where these kind of, you know, uh, concept based or case study based questions will be there. So in that case, you broadly divide the paragraph into three or answer into three paragraphs. One, facts of the case. Second, analysis. And third, conclusion. So how do you write in this case? Facts of the case. Company is a partnership firm. Uh, so applicable non-corporate entities. Company having a partnership firm, turnover of 1.25 crore and borrowing of 0.95 crore. So facts of the case. Then analysis. Company being a partnership firm, non-corporate entity is applicable. Hence, out of level 4, depending on borrowing and turnover, the classifications will be made. Turnover at 1.25 less than 10 crore. Borrowing 0.95 less than 2 crore. Hence, level 4 is applicable. So divide like this. Don't try to write too much and don't try to write too complex. Facts of the case, analysis, conclusion. What would happen if turnover is at level 3 and borrowing is at level 4? No, that these are all any one. Turnover less than 10 crore or borrowing. If you satisfy even one condition, you'll become, for example, level 1. What was the level 1 criteria? Your turnover should be more than 250 crores and borrowing should be more than 50 crore. If turnover is 260 crore, borrowing is 0, level 1 only. Either you satisfy turnover or you satisfy borrowing. One of them, you become level 1 and then you become level 2. So that's how you read from top to bottom. I hope you got the basic. Okay. Okay, let's go further. XYZ Limited with a turnover of 35 lakhs and a borrowing of 10 lakhs during any time in the previous year wants to avail the exemption in adoption of accounting standards applicable to companies for the 100 March 15. Advise the management if XYZ is a partnership firm, is there any exemption optionally available? Okay. XYZ Limited. Which one is available? So which thing to be looked at? XYZ Limited. It's a company. So what is applicable? Issued by MCA. Okay, and we don't have any information on net worth or listed company. So let's go with accounting standards issued by MCA. Let's apply accounting standard. We don't have any information whether it's a listed company or regarding the net worth of it. So for you to classify SMC or non-SMC, they said turnover of 35 lakhs. Turnover of 35 lakhs, which is less than, what is the criteria of non-SMC? It has to be less than 250 crores. It is less than 250 crores. So less than 250 crores. Then borrowing 10 lakhs. It should be less than 50 crores. Yes, it is less than 50 crores. It is not a banking financial institution, not a holding subsidiary of any of the above. So we'll assume that other conditions satisfied. So considering this, we can classify as SMC, small medium companies, SMC. If it XYZ Lem is a partnership firm, if XYZ is partnership firm, so we have to consider it as non-corporate. So what is to be applied is issued by ACCA. So turnover less than 35 lakh, borrowing 10 lakh, so it is less only. So we can classify it as uh, turnover less than 10 crore, borrowing less than 2 crore. So classify as level 4. Classify it as level 4 entity. I mean, I'm just giving you a key answer. In the exam, please write it in the form of sentence. Okay, next. A company was classified as non-SMC in 1314. In 1415, it has been classified as SMC. The management desires to avail the exemptions or relaxations for SMC 1415. However, the accountant of the company does not agree with the same comment. Okay, this one point, maybe I'm not very, I did not made it clear earlier. The standard says if you are non-SMC, next year also you will be non-SMC. I'll tell you the reason why it is there. When you prepare the financial statements, balance sheet P&L, we always prepare comparative, current year and then previous year. So if you classify it as non-SMC this year, then next year if you classify it as SMC, then you have to make changes. So what the standard says, you can change it from non-SMC to SMC only if you are SMC for 2 consecutive years. From the big, you can change it to small only if you are a small for 2 consecutive years. Let me write that. So change of classification from non-SMC means from a big company to SMC, that is to a small company, only if criteria for criteria for SMC is satisfied for 2 consecutive years. Change of classification from non-SMC to SMC, from big to small, you can come back only if it is satisfied for 2 consecutive years. So SMC satisfied condition, next year also condition satisfied. Now you can be moving to it. Okay, so in this case, what is the case? In 2013-14, it is non-SMC. In 14-15, SMC condition satisfied. Okay, now only 1 year there has been change in classification, only 1 year condition has been satisfied. Can we move? No, 2 consecutive years not happened. So change in classification not allowed, not change. Change in classification not permitted. Means it will be continued as non-SMC. Continued as non-SMC. Just for discussion purpose, in 15-16, just for discussion purpose, 15-16, if SMC condition not satisfied, if SMC condition satisfied, this you need not write an exam, only for discussion. So 14-15, SMC condition satisfied. 15-16, SMC condition satisfied. 2 consecutive years satisfied? Yes. Change in classification permitted. So 15-16, you need not write. That's only for your reference. We are discussing. What if SMC changes to non-SMC? SMC to non-SMC means you are applying more rules, right? That's not a problem. We only worried about non-SMC to SMC because SMC will have some exemptions. When you become a small, you don't have to follow certain rules. But when you become non-SMC, you apply more rules, that's not a problem. So changes to non-SMC, there is no conditions. So there won't be any higher burden because they have to follow non-SMC. Yes, absolutely. If they become big, they have to follow more rules. Only when they become non-SMC, they get some exemptions. So the conditions are there that you have to be satisfying for 2 consecutive years. Okay, good. Okay, let's go further. Comment on whether the following companies can be classified as small and medium sized company as per the accounting standard rules. So two companies they have given: a private limited, a multinational company listed on London Stock Exchange. It has a turnover of 12 crore and a borrowing of 5 crore. Okay, now it's a listed company. And okay, you are not talking about a listed company. You are talking about a private company of listed company. So it's not a listed company. So we are not going to apply Ind AS. So what is applicable is it's a corporate. So it is going to be accounting standard issued by MCA. Accounting standard issued by MCA. Okay. Now, when you are a company listed outside India and turnover of 12 crores. So 10, 12 crore turnover means, so what is the limit? Just 1 second, system is taking some time. Okay, right. So if you look at the turnover, 10 crore is below the limit of 50 crore, right? 50 or 250. Below 250 crore limit. And borrowing is also 5 crore below 50 crore. So if you look at those 2 points carefully, it will look like SMC. But when you are a holding or a subsidiary of a listed company, the listing may be in India or outside India, you become non-SMC. Let me repeat once more. When you are a holding or a subsidiary of a listed company, listed means need not be in India, it can be outside India also. So when you are a holding or a subsidiary of a listed company, whether you are private company or not does not matter. Your subsidiary of listed, your subsidiary of listed, and therefore you become non-SMC. turnover, borrowing does not have any impact. B Private Limited has a turnover of 45 crore and other income of 7 crore, bank borrowing 9 crore. Okay, turnover 45, income 752, turnover 45. It's definitely below 250. Actually, this problem was old problem. At that point in time, the limit was 50 crore. So you know what will happen in exam? 45 crore turnover, other income 7, total becomes 52, would cross 50 crores. So people will get confusion. Oh, should I include other income or not? The answer at that point in time was the other income will not be included. Only turnover will be there, only revenue. But anyway, in this problem don't have any relevance now because turnover is increased to 250 crores. But they can ask you 245 crore turnover, 7 crore other income. So other income should not be form part of this criteria calculation. Other income not part of turnover. So turnover 45 crores less than 250 crores, it is SMC. Of course, assuming other conditions satisfied, classified as SMC. Okay, next. List the criteria classification for non-corporate entities as level 1 entities for the purpose of application of accounting as per ICI. Non-corporate entities. Actually, that non-corporate entities means ICI. Level 1. Level 1 means that turnover criteria, then borrowing criteria, you have to list it out. Yeah, I think that's a theory question. What are the issues with accounting standards deal mainly for recognition, measurement, presentation, disclosure, and with some examples there. Account deals with the recognition of events and transactions, measurement of transaction events, preparation and disclosure. Accounting standard standardize diverse accounting policies with a view to eliminate the non-comparability of financial statements and improve reliability of our statements. Discuss and explain the different accounting standards, benefits of accounting standards. So basically, what is the major nature of accounting standards? Accounting is an art subject to subjectivity. Different opinion can exist. To harmonize the accounting policy, to standardize the accounting practices, accounting standards are coming into picture. So without the accounting standards, the entities can adopt different accounting practices, which is not easily comparable. So to make the data comparable for better interpretation purpose, the accounting standards are into picture. Let me quickly read what does this ICI will tell you. The institute solution. You don't have to write it. I'm just telling you so that this is how you can present your answer. Accounting standards standardize the diverse accounting policies with a view to eliminate non-comparability of financial statement and improve the reliability. So what are the two terms they've used clearly? One is regarding the comparability and the reliability. Accounting standard provides set of accounting policies, valuation norms and disclosure requirements. That is what four things: recognition, measurement, presentation, disclosure. Accounting standards aim at improving quality of the reporting by promoting comparability, consistency, transparency. The following are the benefits: standardization of alternative accounting treatment, requirement for disclosure, comparability of financial statements. So basically the same thing what I had explained earlier, they've just made into a paragraph and explaining it. You don't have to write these sentences as it is, as long as you touched upon comparability, uniformity, and the presentation disclosure, recognition measurement, your answer is taken care. So this is on the basics of accounting standards. We have not started any accounting standard, only the basics of it, to whom it's applicable, and what are all the contents of major areas of accounting. Okay, great.